Virtual reality is completely revolutionizing manufacturing, and it's happening fast. Leading companies like Volvo, Mars Wrigley, and more are already using VR throughout their manufacturing process. It's helping them increase productivity and reduce risks while saving money in the long run. Now at ArborXR, we've worked with thousands of businesses across many different sectors, helping them launch and scale VR programs. And in this video, I'll explain how companies can adapt to the shift that virtual reality is creating in the manufacturing space specifically. I'll go over the best use cases of VR, the benefits and challenges that come with it, and what organizations need to start implementing this amazing technology. Let's start by talking about the benefits of VR in manufacturing. There are quite a few of them. The first one is lower long-term costs. Look, getting set up with VR definitely requires an investment upfront. You need the headsets, the software, the content. It all definitely adds up. But over the long run, it actually saves companies a ton of money if implemented correctly. I mean, just think about how much money gets wasted with inefficient processes that VR can fix almost overnight. When your workers are better trained and make fewer mistakes, you're not burning cash fixing errors after the fact. Training costs drop dramatically as well. When you're training people in virtual environments, you don't need to shut down your production lines for hands-on sessions. This alone can save you thousands of dollars per day. Mars Wrigley is a perfect example here. They achieved a $19 million business impact in just 7 months by implementing VR training, cutting their training time in half from 12 weeks to 6 weeks. That's incredible. The second major benefit is improved safety, which is huge in manufacturing. VR creates this incredible safe space where your workers can practice even the most dangerous tasks without any real-world risks. There's no chance of injury and no equipment damage either. In other words, your team can make all the mistakes they need in the virtual world until they get it right. And this even extends to emergency protocols. Things you could never realistically practice in the real world, like how to respond to a major equipment failure or a fire, can be simulated in VR. Volvo, for example, uses VR to train employees on actions like replacing batteries on electric trucks, letting workers practice these complex procedures without any risk to expensive equipment or personnel. The third benefit is more efficiency across your entire operation. We're seeing manufacturers completely transform their workflows after implementing VR. Processes that used to be clunky and time-consuming are now streamlined. Tasks that would normally eat up hours of your team's day can often be completed in significantly less time when workers are better prepared and have practiced in VR first. For instance, assembly processes that used to take days can sometimes be reduced to hours when workers have already mastered the sequence in virtual reality training. Mars Wrigley saw a 45% boost in gum output. That's an increase of 200,000 gum cases after implementing their VR program with us. The fourth benefit is faster training and skill acquisition. One of the biggest headaches in manufacturing has always been how long it takes to get new hires fully productive. With VR, that timeline shrinks a lot. And not to mention, every employee gets the same exact high-quality training experience, which eliminates the inconsistency you can get when different trainers teach different techniques. Plus, workers can practice the most challenging parts of their job over and over in VR until they've truly mastered them. Try doing that with physical equipment on a busy production line. As we saw with Mars Wrigley, they cut their training time by 50% and had to onboard 200 machine operators in just 6 to 7 months to keep up with demand. That's something that would have been nearly impossible with traditional training methods. Now let's talk about how companies are actually using VR in their manufacturing operations. The first and most common use case is training and personnel development. With VR, companies can get new hires productive much faster without slowing down their operations. New employees can learn at their own pace in virtual environments, while the real production lines can keep running at full capacity. And again, Mars Wrigley is a perfect example of this approach. They needed to onboard 200 machine operators in just 6 to 7 months to keep up with demand, like I mentioned before. Their VR training program allowed employees to learn complex machinery operation without any exposure to the physical risks or expensive mistakes that come with traditional training. The second major use case is design and product development. Virtual reality gives designers the ability to see their products in full 3D before building anything physical. They can walk around with their designs, look inside them, and interact with them as if they were already built. This lets them catch any potential problems early in the process, way before investing in expensive physical prototypes or production runs. WestRock is leading the way here. They've equipped about 60 designers who can take traditional designs and put them into VR for design iterations with their customers. By removing just one physical prototype from the equation, they've saved between $10,000 to $20,000 in manufacturing and shipping costs per project. project. The third use case is improving warehouse operations. Kellanova provides a great example here. They've completely transformed their retail sales training by replacing an expensive physical grocery store training center with VR technology. Their new hires go through a 4-day onboarding process where they learn their 8-step store call process in a virtual grocery store. The results have been really impressive. They've seen a 90% increase in display execution from the first VR session to the final one, and a 50% reduction in out-of-stock products identified by trainees. The fourth use case is maintenance and repair. Virtual environments allow maintenance personnel to practice complex repairs before performing them on actual equipment. This preparation leads to faster repair times and fewer mistakes when working on real machinery. For example, Volvo uses VR to train employees on complex procedures like replacing batteries on electric trucks. And the fifth major use case is quality control. With VR technology, workers can quickly identify defects and inconsistencies in products, making the inspection process faster while simultaneously reducing human error. This capability means problems get solved faster and quality standards remain consistently high across all manufacturing sites. Now, I wouldn't be giving you the full picture if I didn't talk about challenges that come with implementing VR in manufacturing. The first and foremost obvious challenge is cost concerns. Getting started with VR isn't cheap. There's hardware costs for all the headsets, obviously software costs for applications, and setup costs for your infrastructure. Then there's training your team on the new technology, which adds another layer of expense at the beginning. But here's the thing, you need to look at the bigger picture. The ROI comes from these long-term efficiency gains we talked about earlier, which typically far outweigh the initial costs. Companies that focus too much on upfront investment often miss out on the long-term savings. Again, Mars Wrigley, one of the world's largest food manufacturers, illustrates this perfectly. Before partnering with us, they faced many challenges in their gum production operations. They wanted to increase output, improve efficiency, and reduce employee training time as well. After they implemented a VR training program, it resulted in a $19 million business impact and 200,000 additional cases of gum in just 7 months. The second challenge is user adoption. There's definitely a learning curve when introducing new technology, especially something as immersive and different as VR. The solution is taking it step by step rather than trying to transform everything overnight. Start with comprehensive training sessions where people can get comfortable with the technology first, and then phase it gradually so people don't get too overwhelmed. Maybe begin with just one department or one process, demonstrate the success, and then expand from there. And the third challenge is technical limitations. You might run into compatibility headaches with your existing systems. Maybe your current software doesn't play nice with VR, or your network infrastructure needs upgrading to handle the additional data load. This is why partnering with experienced VR providers makes all the difference. They've already encountered and solved these same problems for other clients. The fourth challenge, and this is a big one, is device management. Just imagine trying to manually manage and update 50 or 100 VR headsets across multiple facilities. It would be an absolute nightmare. Keeping track of which headsets needs updating, which content should be on which device, who has access to what, it quickly becomes unmanageable. That's exactly why you need a dedicated management platform like ArborXR to control everything from one dashboard. You need to be able to push updates to all devices simultaneously, monitor usage, and manage permissions all from a central location. The fifth challenge is content creation and management. Building custom VR applications isn't like making PowerPoints or training videos. It's specialized work that requires very specific technical skills. That's why working with experienced content developers saves massive headaches down the road. They understand the unique requirements of creating VR experiences and can help ensure that your content actually delivers the results you're looking for. In the description, you can find our directory of all of our trusted VR content developers. And this is how VR is changing manufacturing completely. As I mentioned, there are many challenges that organizations may need to tackle in order to implement VR effectively. And that's where we come in. At ArborXR, we help companies solve all the difficulties that come with using virtual reality. We give organizations all the tools and solutions they need to manage devices and content at scale so they can actually see an ROI from virtual reality. If you want to learn more about how we do this, make sure you click the first link in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.